Okay, here we go for game 2, and now sometimes you get strange games on Jinteki. You can't always count on the quality of your opponents or their decks. So I think, if I remember this game correctly, this is a bit of a strange one. So we're playing wciow, who's playing Corset Weyland. Against Criminal, he's chosen to gain money and then protect his R&D. Now, if I had more balls, I might have just gone Siphon, Plascrete. But it turns out that's exactly what I'm going to do anyway. Against Andromeda, of all the runners in the game, that is the one where you really shouldn't be leaving an undefended HQ early game, because they are definitely going to have siphons in their hand, definitely. So yeah, I'm just going to burn through this turn, probably just dumping all my tags for 8, or I can just play insanely and go tag me. The trouble is that having tags really just invalidates so many of the cards in this deck, like Earthrise and he's playing blue level clearance. I like the clearances in Corset Weyland an awful lot. Not only do they get you money, but then they draw you into more money, which is great. You can very quickly establish a huge amount of cash off a Corset Weyland with green and blue level clearances. So yeah, that's all my tags gone. I'm on 20 credits with the Plascrete out, and he's only just now recovering from me having taken all of his cash. So yeah, again, so this deck loves it when it's not under pressure, because like all stealth rigs, what it needs is enough time to set up. So every time your opponent is like, I'm going to ice my remotes and take money, ice my centrals and take money, that's another turn for you just to go get your bits and pieces. Aha, so advancing ice means that there's going to be some high strength space ice, which can be annoying, but the reality is that a stealth rig can normally just kind of blow through those things anyway. So yeah, go fetch my switchblade. That's obviously the most important of my breakers, because it means that all of his program trashing is no longer online. Go out, fetch my corroder. So yeah, so now he's icing up his centrals. And drop that. Drop another Earthrise just to keep the cards flowing in. And there's a sec testing, so I can start making money again. So as you can see, I've burned through a lot of the credits that I had from my siphons, but at the same time, my rig is very well established now. I'm not under any pressure from my opponent. I've got a Plascrete out, and I've just found an R&D interface. Also, Katie Jones is... so the one issue with this deck, and I've run this breaker suite out of other IDs as well, is that lots of high strength barriers can mean that you actually need to start making money. Obviously, Refractor and Switchblade make short work of the majority of their breaker suite, and with so many people playing high strength sentries now, Switchblade is just such a great card. But at the same time, when you start running into curtain walls and Hadrian's walls and asteroid belts, that can mount up cost-wise. So yeah, having the Katie Jones just as a way of generating a huge amount of money is not the worst thing in the world here. And there I took a credit because what I don't like doing is playing out my interfaces before I'm going to at least make one run on that server. I like to kind of sandbag the threat in my hand. Aha, so there's my refractor. So at this point we are rig complete with my opponent on 0 points, not really generating any kind of threat. Also, we've got our sec testing plus Desperado online, so we're making money. We're making money off Katie, so really we can start at this point thinking about just going after all the servers. I'm not sure why I'm thinking of running here. There doesn't seem a lot of value to it. And yeah, installing the Earthrise just to keep drawing through my deck seems a far better choice. So yeah, my opponent continues to advance his ice. So yeah, so now I'm thinking, okay, it's time to go digging in R&D. So yeah, install that, run R&D. And a builder, of course. As I've said, this deck is unconventional. Oh, and a hostile, a Jackson. Oh, I did trash it. Okay. Sometimes, if I see a face down card on the board, which I think is a Jackson, I'll often not trash a second Jackson from R&D because it just means that they can shuffle that Jackson back in, and all you're doing is losing 3 credits for the privilege of them doing that. So normally I will let that one fly. Career fair, daily casts. It's definitely a thing. So yeah, I'm on. Yeah, I'm not sure quite what I'm doing here with 2 Katie Joneses in play. And I've just realised. So yeah, that was a goof. I am not immune to playing like an idiot, as if you've watched any of these videos, you will no doubt be aware at this point. But yeah, so now I'm just feeling fairly invulnerable. Looks like he's going to try and represent a score here. We can dirty laundry into his archives for a net of 6 credits. And at this point, I'm not sure I can be kept out. Like Hadrian, Curtain Wall is expensive, but of course it's Matrix Analyzer, that stalwart of competitive decks. So yeah, he's like, obviously this guy is all in on Space Ice, and that's fine. You know, I think it has been demonstrated that Space Ice, the investment required to make them good, is not worth it. And what this guy's done is then dedicate more card slots from his deck to try and mitigate that problem. And there's certainly a deck building mantra, which is that if you're playing bad cards, you shouldn't then play additional bad cards to support, to try and make the other bad cards less bad, which is really what this guy's done. Also, notice he dumps 10 credits into the trace and tags me, and then I clear the tag. So not ideal. So obviously he wants me tagged so he can scorch me out, but a 2 credit and 1 click investment is not the worst in the world. I think at this point he's realising, oh, he's advanced it again, so is that an Orion? I guess it, or it's either an Orion or like a strength 5 ice wall now. But regardless, I'm now in a position to just dig through his R&D again. I mean, 14 credits, yeah. What am I thinking about? Am I thinking about just checking his hand? I am thinking about just checking his hand. So it's an 8 credit legwork. So there's the asteroid belt. I can still break it with my corroder, especially the cloaks helping out there. And a space cam. Oh, you gotta admire this guy's dedication to his craft. Space cam, builder, matrix analyzer. He's definitely all in on this expensive space ice. Yeah, so that was a Jackson. So when I did pay my 3 to trash the Jackson I saw from R&D, that's essentially just going to get recycled back in. So I'm on 6 at this point. I'm not sure why I would be thinking about doing that. Yeah, archives is where I should be going. You can sec test the Jackson to force people to fire it. It's super dodgy. And again, so he makes the same mistake as the last guy. I'm running in on a sec tested archives and he's just immediately sensing a threat to the agendas he's dumped in there somehow and has decided to clear it out. So yeah, back to R&D. Again, he's got a whole bunch of credits. He could be rezzing probably all of this ice, but is choosing not to. And against someone who's running a stealth rig, having your that's game. Having your ice rezzed is just a great way of taxing out their credits, even if it's not going to stop them. If you're sat on a pile of credits like he is, res all that ice because it means that they can only get into one of the servers by spending all their stealth credits. Anyway, another win, on to game 3.